There's a quiet moment that almost every parent has, usually late at night when the house is finally still and your mind won't stop replaying the day. Something your child said or didn't say, the way they walked away instead of talking. And a small, uncomfortable thought slips in. Why do they feel farther away lately? If that question has ever crossed your mind, even once, this video is for you. Because the most painful truth about parenting is that sometimes we push our kids away without ever meaning to, and without even realizing we're doing it. Most parents watching this love their children deeply. You worry about them, you sacrifice for them. You want them to be safe, confident, and happy. And yet many kids slowly pull back emotionally, not because their parents don't care, but because of tiny, everyday habits that seem harmless on the surface. These moments don't look like abuse or neglect. They look like normal parenting. They look like they're busy, being tired, and trying to do their best. And that's what makes them so easy to miss. Before we go any further, if this kind of honest, gentle conversation about parenting and emotional growth feels helpful to you, you're always welcome here. Subscribing to Mind Grooming just means you'll have more moments like this, where you can pause, reflect, and feel a little less alone in the journey. One of the most common mistakes parents make is correcting more than connecting. It often starts with good intentions. Your child tells you something, maybe a problem at school or a feeling they're confused about, and your brain immediately switches into fix-it mode. You point out what they did wrong, what they should do differently, or how they could have avoided the situation. But what your child hears isn't guidance. What they feel is judgment. Over time, they learn that opening up leads to being evaluated instead of understood. So they stop opening up, not because they don't trust you, but because it feels safer to stay quiet. Another mistake that slowly creates distance is minimizing emotions. When a child says they're sad, scared, or overwhelmed, it can be tempting to reassure them quickly by saying things like, "You're fine, it's not a big deal," or "You'll get over it." To an adult, this sounds comforting. To a child, it feels like their inner world is being dismissed. They learn that their feelings are inconvenient or exaggerated. And when emotions aren't welcomed, children learn to hide them. That emotional hiding doesn't disappear as they grow. It becomes a wall. Many parents also unknowingly push kids away by over-prioritizing behavior over feelings. When a child acts out, talks back, or shuts down, the focus often goes straight to discipline. What rule was broken? What consequences needed? But behavior is almost always a message. When kids feel unheard, unseen, or emotionally overwhelmed, their behavior speaks for them. If we only respond to the behavior and not the feeling underneath, children learn that their struggles don't matter, only their obedience does. Another subtle but powerful mistake is being emotionally unavailable while physically present. You can be in the same room, sitting on the couch, driving them to practice, making dinner, and still feel miles away emotionally. Phones, stress, mental to-do lists, and exhaustion steal our attention without us noticing. Children feel this absence deeply. They notice when their stories are met with half-listening or distracted nods. Over time, they stop trying to compete for your attention. They turn inward or outward, looking for connection elsewhere. Comparison is another quiet relationship killer. Comparing siblings, classmates, or even your child's past self may seem motivating, but it slowly erodes trust. When kids feel measured against others, they start to believe love and approval are conditional. They feel accepted only when they perform well. This creates anxiety, resentment, and emotional distance. Instead of feeling safe to be themselves, they feel pressure to be someone else. Sometimes the mistake isn't what parents say, but what they don't say. Avoiding difficult conversations about feelings, mistakes, or family struggles can send the message that emotions are something to be avoided. Kids sense tension even when it's unspoken. When silence replaces honesty, children often blame themselves or create their own explanations, which are usually harsher than the truth. One of the most painful patterns is dismissing a child's attempts to connect because they don't come at convenient times. A child wants to talk when you're busy, tired, or distracted. You say later, not now, maybe tomorrow. But tomorrow often doesn't come. Children eventually stop asking, the window closes quietly, and parents are left wondering why their child doesn't talk to them anymore. Control can also push kids away when it replaces guidance. When children feel constantly monitored, micromanaged, or mistrusted, they don't feel protected. They feel trapped. Independence is a natural emotional need. When kids aren't given space to make small mistakes, they don't learn responsibility. They learn secrecy. They start hiding parts of themselves to avoid conflict or disappointment. What makes all of this especially hard is that none of these mistakes mean you're a bad parent. They mean you're human. Most of us were never taught how to emotionally connect. We parent the way we were parented or the opposite without realizing the emotional gaps we're passing on. The good news is that emotional distance is not permanent. Relationships with children are incredibly resilient when repair is genuine. Small shifts create big changes. Listening without fixing. Validating feelings before correcting behavior. Being fully present for a few uninterrupted minutes a day. Saying I'm sorry when you miss the mark. These moments rebuild safety. If any part of this video stirred something in you, you're not alone. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. What's one thing you wish parents understood better about kids' emotions? Or what's something you're trying to do differently with your own child? And if this message reminded you of someone, a partner, a friend, a parent who's trying their best but feeling disconnected, consider sharing this video with them. Sometimes one gentle reminder can change the way a family talks, listens, and loves. Parenting isn't about being perfect. It's about being willing to notice, to reflect, and to grow. The fact that you're here watching this means you care more than you realize. And that care, when paired with awareness, has the power to bring your child closer than ever. Stay with us at Mind Grooming because these quiet shifts, the ones no one talks about, are where real connection begins.